Hello there, Supatveva, dear friends of the Dhamma. Welcome back to the Dhamma School, the Dhamma of the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha. In our last lesson, we were talking about the aspects of the mind, and already we introduced the first two aspects, Sankhara mind and non-aligned mind. So, what is the third aspect of the mind? Before I introduce you to the third aspect, honestly, we still have a lot to talk about Sankhara mind. All right. In school, we have learnt about scientists like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, and so on. What is the theory of Charles Darwin? The theory of evolution. What is the theory of Albert Einstein? The theory of relativity. What did Isaac Newton discover sitting under an apple tree? Newton discovered the theory of gravity. So, my next question is, wasn't the gravity always present even before Newton discovered it? The gravity was always present. All right. So, what did the Buddha discover? What is the theory he discovered sitting under a bo tree? The Buddha called it Paticca Samuppada. But generally, we call it the theory of cause and effect. So, according to the theory of the Buddha, what are the causes and what are the effects? What did Prince Siddhartha research? Prince Siddhartha. Siddhartha was the household name of the Buddha Gautama. What was the Prince Siddhartha researching? Kin kusala gavesi, kin satya gavesi. Kin kusala gavesi. The research of what is wholesome or what is mental purity. Kin satya gavesi. What the absolute truth is. Then, what is the absolute truth? What is the truth about this universe? What is the truth about our existence? Who are we? What are we doing here? What are we looking for? What is the meaning of the happiness or pleasure? What is the meaning of suffering or misery? What is the meaning of all the conditions, situations, circumstances, and emotions what we experience in living? Why are we subject to this reality of existence? Why are we subject to this dukkha? What are the causes? In Magadhi, there's a term called hetu. Hetu means causes. And there is another term called phala. Phala means the effect, the result, or the consequence. Then, what we experience in living known as existence is in reality a consequence. Our suffering is a consequence. Our existence is a consequence. Our dukkha is a consequence. Then, what are the causes for all these consequences what we experience in living? What are the causes for our existence? What are the causes for our suffering, our dissatisfaction, and our stress? What are the causes for dukkha? The Buddha discovered, Buddha proclaimed, the primary causes for our existence, the primary causes for our suffering, our dissatisfaction and our stress, the primary causes for this universal mechanism called dukkha. What are they? They are called raga, dosa and moha. They are three kinds of mental defilements. Raga means the pleasant nature arising in our mind. Dosa means the unpleasant nature arising in our mind. Moha means the comparative nature or indecisive nature between the pleasure and displeasure. Raga, dosa and moha. They are the causes. Raga, dosa and moha, commonly they are called sun. The Buddha discovered, the Buddha proclaimed 3 sun causes. 3 sun causes. Causes for our existence. Causes for dukkha. Causes for this universal mechanism called existence. All right. Already we mentioned that there's a term in Magadhi called sankhara. Kahara means actions. Then actions based on raga, dosa and moha. Sankhara. And in Magadhi, there is another term called samudaya. The term samudaya is made up of 2 words, sun plus udaya. Sun means raga, dosa and moha. Udaya means the arising. Then samudaya means the arising of raga, dosa and moha. With the arising of raga, dosa and moha, grasping of the 5 aggregates occurs. Rupa samudaya, the arising of form. Rupa samudaya. Vedana samudaya, the arising of mundane sensations. Sanya samudaya, the arising of perception. Sankhara samudaya, the arising of the actions based on raga, dosa and moha. Sankhara samudaya. And finally, vijnana samudaya, the arising of corrupted cognition or the arising of corrupted mental energy. Vijnana samudaya. So, rupa samudaya, vedana samudaya, sanya samudaya, sankhara samudaya, vijnana samudaya. Therefore, samudaya means the appearance of the 5 aggregates of attachment. In this process of samudaya, we get drunk. Actually, we get intoxicated with mundane sensation. And a blind relationship with the 5 aggregates is formed. With the arising of raga intention, we get intoxicated with pleasant sensation. We grasp the 5 aggregates, entertaining our mind with pleasure. And then raga tendency gives birth to pleasant relationship known as tanha. Tanha means craving. Craving for sense pleasure, craving for becoming, and craving for continuing. And there evolves a new corruption of craving called tanha anusaya. Tanha anusaya. New corruption of craving. With the arising of dosa intention, we get intoxicated with unpleasant sensation. We grasp the 5 aggregates, entertaining our mind with displeasure. And those tendency gives birth to unpleasant relationship known as patigha. Patigha means aversion. And there evolves a new corruption of aversion called patigha anusaya. With the arising of moha intention, we get intoxicated with indecisive sensation between pleasure and displeasure. We grasp the 5 aggregates, entertaining our mind with delusion. And moha tendency gives birth to indecisive relationship known as avidya. Avidya means ignorance. And there evolves a new corruption of ignorance called avidya anusaya. So, tanha anusaya, patigha anusaya, avidya anusaya. Anusaya. Anusaya means new corruptions. Anu means new. Saya means accumulation. Accumulation of new corruptions. So, anusaya deposits in our mind. Then we call it asaya. Saya means accumulation. Asaya, past corrupted experiences. The accumulation of past corrupted experiences. Asaya. Asa is known as asava too. Asava. So, pleasant, unpleasant, or indecisive, they all are blind relationships based on raga, dosa, and moha. Therefore, raga, dosa, and moha, they are 3 bondages, they are 3 poisons, they are 3 toxic intentions that our mind gets intoxicated. This intoxication is called asadu. Asadu means psychological entertainment or psychological exuberance. Asadu. This psychological entertainment, asadu, is the primary food for the mind for continued existence. Asadu, the primary food for the mind, ahara. In Magadhi, it's called ahara. Asadu is the primary food for the mind for continued existence of all sentient beings. That's why the Buddha proclaimed, Sabbe satta aharattitika. Asadu, this psychological entertainment, is the primary food for the mind for continued existence of all sentient beings. Therefore, our life is nothing but a constant research of the primary food for the mind for continued existence. Our life is nothing but a constant research of psychological entertainment. Asadu. This research is called Asada Pariyesana. The research of psychological entertainment, or the research of the primary food for the mind for continued existence. Asada Pariyesana. All right. In Magadhi, there is highly important term called P. This term P represents all three kinds of attachments. This term P represents all three kinds of relationships: pleasant, unpleasant, and indecisive. In Magadhi, they are called Piya. Piya means pleasant. Appiya. Appiya means unpleasant. Piyappiya. Piyappiya means indecisive between pleasure and displeasure. Therefore, the term P represents all three kinds of relationships. The term P represents the attachment. The term P represents the cause. Then, what is the effect of the attachment? It's called dukkha. P dukkha. Therefore, Buddha has pointed out some common factors to extrapolate this P-based attachment or sun-based attachment and the resulting effect, the dukkha. For example, jati pi dukkha. Jati means birth. Birth of what? The arising of an intention is a birth as well as delivering a baby. Birth is not dukkha, but jati pi dukkha, the attachment. Pleasant, unpleasant, or indecisive. Attachment to birth is dukkha. Jara pi dukkha. Jara means aging or becoming old. Aging is not dukkha, but jara pi dukkha, the attachment. Attachment to aging is dukkha. Maranam pi dukkham. Marana means the death, the end, or the disappearance. The death is not dukkha, but maranam pi, the attachment to death, is dukkha. For example, the death of Bin Laden. Did the death of Bin Laden make Americans happy or not? Did the death of Bin Laden make Americans happy or not? The death of Bin Laden made Americans so happy. But what about the followers of Bin Laden, Talibans? Did they enjoy with the death of Bin Laden? I don't think so. Probably they felt miserable with the death of Bin Laden. Therefore, how is it possible that the same death makes one group happy and another group unhappy? Therefore, it's clear that death doesn't make us happy or unhappy, but the attachment. The attachment makes us happy and unhappy. Soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa pi dukkha. Pi, attachment. To sorrowness, lamentation, physical pain, psychological pain, and physical and psychological exert for continued existence. So, the attachment to these conditions is dukkha. Appiyehi sampayogo dukkho. Sampayogo, association. Association is not dukkha, but appiyehi. Already there is an unpleasant relationship. Appiyehi sampayogo dukkho. Association with unpleasant is dukkha. Piyehi vippayogo dukkho. Vippayogo, the separation. The separation is not dukkha, but the separation from pleasant, piyehi. Already there is P-based attachment. Therefore, piyehi vippayogo dukkha. The separation from pleasant is dukkha. Yan pi icchan nalabati tam pi dukkham. Not getting what one desires is dukkha. Of course, there is already P-based attachment there. And finally, the 5 aggregates of attachment are dukkha. Therefore, the Buddha emphasized the P-based attachment and the resulting dukkha. P dukkha. The attachment is the root cause for our suffering. The attachment is the root cause for our existence. So, you may have relationships based on these 3 kinds of attachments: pleasant, unpleasant, and indecisive. Therefore, you also can make a list of attachments. For example, boyfriend, P dukkha. Boyfriend is not dukkha, but attachment to boyfriend is dukkha. Girlfriend, P dukkha. Girlfriend is not dukkha, but attachment to girlfriend is dukkha. Mother-in-law, P dukkha. Mother-in-law is not dukkha, but attachment to mother-in-law is dukkha. Daughter-in-law, P dukkha. Daughter-in-law is not dukkha, but attachment to daughter-in-law is dukkha. Future, P dukkha. Future is not dukkha, but attachment to future is dukkha. Past, P dukkha. Past is not dukkha, but attachment to our past is dukkha. Expectations, P dukkha. Expectations are not dukkha, but attachment to our expectations is dukkha. Therefore, any attachment, pleasant, unpleasant, or indecisive, they are nothing but the 5 aggregates of attachment. So, attachment brings the misery. No attachment, no cry. All right. So, it's necessary to point out that with the arising of Samudra, we engage with 10 unwholesome actions. With the arising of Samudra, we engage with triple misconduct. And we generate new karma. Psychological karma, verbal karma, and physical karma. Or they can be explained as meritorious karma, demeritorious karma, and imperturbable karma. They all are karma. Therefore, this flow of causes and effects, this movement, this journey of actions and consequences, this movement is called wheel of karma. The wheel of life, practically the wheel of dukkha. We are immersed in a stream of causes and effects. Whether we like it or not, whether we perceive it or not, we are part of this universal mechanism called kamma chakra, the wheel of karma. Therefore, nobody can refuse these two realities called Samudra and Dukkha. Samudra is a universal truth. Dukkha is a universal truth. Of course, we make P-based attachments, sun-based attachments, pleasant, unpleasant, and indecisive. Therefore, Samudra is a truth. And our attachments bring us misery. Therefore, Dukkha is a universal truth. Already we are experiencing the truth of Samudra and the truth of Dukkha. In Magadhi, there is a term called Sanditiko. San means raga, dosa, and moha. Dittiko means to see, to experience, or to understand. Sanditiko. It is necessary to experientially understand the arising sun causes and their effects within oneself. It is necessary to experientially understand the arising samudaya and its effect, the dukkha, within oneself. It is called Sanditiko. Without an experiential understanding of the arising sun causes and their effects within oneself, it's impossible to be free of dukkha. An analogy would be something like that without a correct diagnosis of a sickness, it's impossible to find a cure. Then, once we experience the arising samudaya and its effect within ourselves, we commence to do research, a path for liberation from dukkha. A research to abandon the dukkha. A research to release the attachment. Research, a pariyesana, Arya pariyesana, a research to abandon the journey of existence. Arya pariyesana. All right. So, how can we liberate from this wheel of karma? How can we liberate from dukkha? Now let's have a look at the dialogue related to this theory of cause and effect. This discussion took place between two persons. One person is called Arihat Asaji. Arihat Asaji was one of the first 5 disciples of the Buddha, one of the Panchavaggiya Bhikkhun. Other person is called Upatissa. Upatissa was the household name of Arihat Sariputta. Upatissa had a childhood friend called Kolita. Upatissa and Kolita, they were 2 youngsters who were looking for a great teacher. They were looking for the absolute truth. One day, Upatissa saw that Arihat Asaji was walking along the road going for alms. Then, Upatissa was very impressed by the appearance and deportment of Arihat Asaji. Then Upatissa asked following questions. From whom or for whom have you become a monk? Who is your master? What is the teaching that you practice? Then Arhat Assaji replied, there is a great monk that comes from Sakya clan, a son of Sakya who became a monk. I became a monk through him. He is my teacher, and I follow his teaching. I practice his teaching. Then Upatissa asked another question. What does your master teach? What is his theory? Then Arhat Assaji said this famous verse, Ye dhamma hetu prabhava tesan hetun tathagatu ah tesan chayo nirodhu evanvadi mahasamano. At the end of this discussion, Upatissa instantly comprehended the essence of this teaching. Upatissa attained Sotapannahood. Then Upatissa went to his friend Kolitha and referred this teaching to Kolitha. Then Kolitha also attained Sotapannahood. Then Upatissa and Kolitha, they both went to the Buddha and attained Arihathood and became two chief disciples of the Buddha, famous Sariputta and Moggallana. So, what is the meaning of this famous verse? Ye dhamma hetu prabhava. Dhamma means intentions. Hetu means to cause. Bhava, means to repeat or to generate. Bhava means becoming or seeds of defilements. Then whatever intentions that cause repeated becoming. Tesan hetun tathagato ah. Tathagato, the Buddha, proclaimed or discovered. Hetun, causes. Tesan hetun, three sun causes. Tathagato proclaimed three sun causes. Tathagato proclaimed three sun causes. Te san hetu. Causes for what? Causes for dukkha. Causes for dukkha. Causes for our existence. Causes for triple misconduct. Then, after discovering the three sun causes, what did Tathagata do? Te sanchayo nirodhu. Nirodhu. What is nirodhu? Nirodhu means the pure state of the mind which must be achieved is called nirodhu. In English, the term nirodhu is translated as cessation. But the term nirodhu is made up of two words, ni plus rodha. Ni means no, or ending, or cessation. Rodha means unwholesome wheeling on mental objects. Then Nirodha means the cessation of unwholesome wheeling on mental objects. Nirodha. We must deliberately intervene to counter-respond the arising sun causes by generating wholesome intentions. It is the path to uproot the arising sun causes. Seriously, it is the path to purify the arising sun causes. In Magadhi, vi or vita means the separation or detachment. The separation from the arising raga intention is called vitaraga. The separation from the arising moha intention is called, the separation from the arising dosa is called vita dosa. The separation from arising moha is called vita moha. Then raga, dosa and moha, they are commonly called sun. Then the separation from sun is called vi-sun. The actions based on sun, they are called sankahara. Sankahara. The separation from sun is called visan. The separation from sankahara is called visankahara. Visankahara. So let's suppose that we are able to practice this purification path. We are able to practice this purification process, converting the arising intentions from unwholesome state to wholesome state. That means we change the causes. That means we purify the causes. Then, if causes are purified, now what would happen to the effect that we call dukkha? Free from attachment, free from dukkha. Free from attachment, therefore free from saronas, free from lamentation, free from psychological pain, free from physical pain, free from existence, free from dukkha, free from raga bondage, free from dosa bondage, and free from moha bondage. No bondages. It's called nibbana. Free from raga bondage, free from dosa bondage, free from moha bondage. The absolute liberation. Evan vadi mahasamuno. It is the teaching of this great monk, Mahasamunu. So now we have got the full meaning. Whatever intentions that cause repeated becoming, Tathagato proclaimed 3 sun causes and the cessation of unwholesome wheeling on mental objects based on those 3 sun causes. It is the teaching of this great monk. So, by generating wholesome intentions and their correct application against the arising sun causes, the wheel of karma gets transformed into wheel of Dhamma. Kamma chakra gets transformed into Dhamma chakra. So, Samudaya, Samudaya leads the generation of new karma, psychological karma, physical karma, and verbal karma, or meritorious karma, demeritorious karma, and imperturbable karma. They all are karma. But Nirodha leads the eradication of karma. Therefore, karma could be eradicated only by Dhamma. It is what the Buddha realized. It is what the Buddha taught. It is the theory of cause and effect. Therefore, Buddha was not a proponent of karma, but the Buddha was a destroyer of karma. The Buddha was eradicator of karma. Kamma khayo nibbana. The full eradication of karma is nibbana. All right. So, in our next lesson, let's talk about, with more details, Sankhara. All right, let's continue our discussion in our next lesson. Supatveva, everyone.